What do you make me?
I think we have another Lonely Hearts case on our hands.
Oh, fine. You're gonna make a brilliant detective someday. What'd you think it was? Somebody queer for gloves?
Look, that woman was just like all the rest of them. Alone, a widow, elderly, available. She withdrew all her savings right before she disappeared. All right. I don't know how the glove figures in yet.
Fine. Well, the first thing a cop has to do is learn to admit when he doesn't know something. It's nothing to be ashamed of. As usual, no corpse?
As usual, nothing. That woman left her house expecting to come home. She didn't. I got Benson and a crew over there now, checking the place out.
All right.
Is that it? Well, here's a written report of what we've got so far.
Your handwriting's lousy.
I typed it. Forget your reading glasses, Sergeant? Agnes Bannister. Address, 467 Lomita Linda. Last seen August 21, 3 p.m. Age 54. Height...
Wait a minute. You call that elderly?
What?
A minute ago, I was sitting in this chair. You told me those women were all the same. They're all widows and they're all elderly. Now you tell me this Bannister woman is 54 years of age. I presume by that you consider 54 to be elderly? Oh, never mind. Go ahead, will you? Just remember, a written report isn't worth anything if the language isn't precise.
Okay, Sergeant.
What are you doing? You know I quit smoking.
Ah,
Shane. It's for you.
Adamic. Yeah, Jim, how you doing over there? Great, yeah. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Let me get it down. Okay, what's the address? Great, thanks. Benson found a canceled check in the Bannister woman's papers made out to one of those matrimonial agencies. Name of the place is Hand Clasp.
Here's Hand Clasp House, lady. It'll be $1.20.
Thank you. Garde de change.
Huh?
I'm practicing my French. That means keep the change. Oh, thank you.
Welcome to Hand Clasp House. I'm Lillian Stanton.
Oh, how do you do? I'm Loretta Dorsey. Oh. Am I late for my appointment?
No, right on time.
Good. Your roses are lovely.
Thank you. Do you enjoy gardening?
Oh, I did. When I had a garden. Green thumb. Mr. Dorsey used to say, when Loretta puts a seed in the ground, you'd better stand back. I'm here, as you know, because of your ad in the newspaper.
Oh, I'm delighted to see you.
Hand Clasp House has been very highly recommended to me.
Glad to hear that. Would you like to see the rest of the garden?
That would be lovely.
You're not a resident of Santa Barbara?
No. A visitor. I'm staying at the Hotel Vista.
Oh, yes, of course.
I don't mind telling you that I'm a wee bit nervous about being here.
Oh, please don't be. Let's just think in terms of being friends. For my own part, that won't be difficult.
Thank you. Thank you. You do have the knack of making a person feel at ease. After Mr. Dorsey passed away, my friends back home, well, they're getting older, settled, and they all have their own families. The house was too big. Worst of all, it was too empty.
Why don't you sit down?
Thank you. I traveled, met many people, many new faces. Oh, I've been on an absolute binge of new places and new faces.
Searching for a new life.
Companionship. It's so little to ask, and yet so many complications. Once in London, staying at the Dorchester, I did meet someone.
Mrs. Dorsey, now that you mentioned the Dorchester, forgive me, but your hotel here, the Vista, it isn't exactly the liveliest place in town. And as for the service...
You mean it isn't a first-rate establishment? That's why I chose it. I've made up my mind not to go through another unpleasant experience.
I think I'm beginning to understand. That someone at the Dorchester, he was more interested in you being a woman of means than he was in you.
You are perceptive. Mrs. Stanton, tell me frankly, am I wasting my time?
Oh, no, please be assured. I have 2 or 3 clients who would be very suitable. I'm extremely careful who I bring together. I don't run a computer-type operation.
Good. I'd hate to be matched digit for digit.
I was just going to have some tea. Won't you join me?
Aren't you kind?
Narita's such a lovely name. What a shame we're going to have to introduce you as number 555.
Splendid. 5 is my lucky number.
Oh, good.
After my husband died, I sold the house, built before the war. Oh, merci, monsieur. Vous êtes très gentil.
Oh, très gentil.
Hello.
Hi.
You must be Mr. Adamic.
Yes, I am.
I'm Mrs. Stanton.
How do you do, Mrs. Stanton? Nice to meet you. This is Sergeant Shane.
Sergeant? Would you come in? I understand you want to see me about one of my clients.
Yes, Agnes Bannister. Do you remember her?
Currently, I've over 500 clients. Also, Hand Clasp House deals in numbers, not names. Secrecy means safety. Have you any idea of when Mrs. Bannister may have come to Hand Clasp House?
Well, a check she made out to you for $150 was dated last April 7th.
That would be her registration fee. Now, let's see. Bannister. Here we are. Agnes Bannister, number 317.
Mr. Stanton run this agency with you?
Mr. Stanton died 3 years ago. Hand Clasp House is my way of remaining involved, useful.
Do you have anything else?
I'm afraid that's it, Mr.
Adamic.
Adamic. The information on this card is all that I need to know about a client to match him or her with another. Their hobbies, tastes, what they most admire in the opposite sex.
Financial means, income, savings, that sort of thing.
If it seems relevant, yes. Usually it's not.
What happens after those cards are filled out?
But take Mrs. Bannister when she came here in April. We had a long get-together talk. She was assigned a number. The details of her personality were circulated.
Among your gentlemen clients?
Those I felt might be interested in corresponding with her.
That makes you something of a psychologist, doesn't it?
It's the most rewarding aspect of my work, bringing the right people together. I pride myself that I
Let's
never...
get back to that correspondence, shall we? What happens with that?
All correspondence is addressed to me here and has on it the number of the client to whom it's meant to go. I send it on. Very simple, really.
Nothing simple. I'll need access to your files.
But my files are confidential. There's mutual trust involved.
That's why I appreciate you letting me look through them all the more.
Oh, but Sergeant, I couldn't.
Unless you want me to get a warrant.
Go ahead.
Frank, would you... Thank you. Frank, would you look through those files for the names of our missing women? Mrs. Stanton will help you. And then Mrs. Stanton will give you the names of all of the gentlemen that Mrs. Bannister was in correspondence with. Shane, here, get me Janasco, will you? Hallie, hang in there a minute, will you?
Mrs. Bannister's our only woman who registered here.
Oh, sure. Why should I get lucky all of a sudden? Hallie, teletype Los Angeles and San Francisco. Check all matrimonial agencies in their area for the women involved. Right.
Sergeant, may I ask the meaning of this? Surely I'm entitled to an explanation.
Of course you are. Explain.
A disappearance. 5, in fact. We think it might be murder.
Murder? Well, in that case, I'll do anything I can to help.
Well, the man responsible might be one of your clients. Now, we don't know who he is or what he looks like, but you can bet he'll be going into operation again.
Do you mean kill another woman?
I hardly think he's out to set up a harem. Thank you.
Good morning, Edward.
I hope this is what you've been waiting for, Mrs.
Aren't
Dorsey.
you nice? Thank you.
Dear 555, I understand you are interested in finding companionship. I wonder if you would care to correspond with me. Since I am in the happy position of not having to earn a living, though not one of the idle rich, I assure you, time does drag a bit, so you will understand how hopeful I am of hearing from you. Very truly yours, number 246.
Dear 246, I was so pleased to receive your letter this morning. It had been forwarded to me very promptly, and it gave me a nice feeling of being less a stranger in my new surroundings.
Dear 555, how can I describe my pleasure on receiving so friendly a reply to my letter? It was my very first attempt at anything like this, through an agency, I mean, so you can imagine how gratified I was. People are not very courteous in these selfish times, and replies, even to the sincerest inquiries, cannot be relied upon. Yes, I love Matisse. I'm mad for all the Impressionists.
Time can be rather a bore, of course, but I manage to keep myself occupied with walking. Nature is a never-ending source of delight. Don't you agree?
Indeed, I do agree. Nature produces the greatest results with the simplest means.
Perhaps I should mention one of my weaknesses. I have a passion for haunting antique shops. It's quite damaging to one's bank account.
I have never collected antiques, but I very much appreciate them. They are a great reassurance in this world of plastic and second-rate craftsmanship. Also, I am told that antiques can be a marvelous investment.
You're Mrs. Dorsey.
Yes, I'm Mrs. Dorsey.
You won't mind, I'm sure, but I took the liberty of asking the desk clerk your name.
Now, isn't that nice? No, of course I don't mind.
I'm Simpson, Jack Simpson.
Oh, how do you do?
I thought you might like to play a set or two.
Well, now, that is friendly, but I'm afraid not.
Sure you don't need just a little coaxing. I'm just the one to do it. Looks like you got a letter from a beau.
No, not really. Not a beau. Yet.
Well, if he lets you down, I'll be around. Oh, come on, just one set. It'll do you good.
Oh, Mr. Simpson, I can tell by the look of you that you have a way with women.
Well,
And I can't resist. I'll tell you what. You go along and play, and maybe after lunch I'll come and watch.
lunch? I never eat lunch myself. Moderation. It's why I'm in such good shape. Tell me, how old do you think I am?
50.
I'm 60. Look 50, feel 40. And I've got all my teeth and all my hair, and my eyes are like twin telescopes.
Twin telescopes.
And, I'm a widower.
Any news?
Yeah, the Los Angeles matrimonial bureaus have no information on any of our missing women.
Negative from San Francisco, too.
Now, what about you?
I checked out all those guys that corresponded with the Bannister woman. Benson agrees with me. None of them could be the one we want.
All right, let's not stop there. Check out every man that registered with Hand Clasp House for the last 6 months.
Okay, Sergeant.
Writing to each other only a short time, I feel I've always known you. The loneliness that hung over me is suddenly dispelled. Oh, dear. You must think me silly and romantic to write a thing like that. I'd never dare say it to anyone face to face.
Truly, we owe it to each other to meet. I know we'd get on famously. Please say that it will be soon. There is a lovely spot in the park. 555?
246.
I am sorry. You must think me terribly dull-witted.
Maybe you should have worn a white carnation.
And you should have had a hat with a feather in it.
Oh.
So you're 555. What shall I call you? 5 for short.
Oh. I'm Loretta Dorsey.
Oh, and I'm, well, now prepare yourself. Jameson Rexford Willoughby.
Oh, dear.
I hasten to offer you a choice of nicknames. There's Jim, Jamie, Will, Willie if you must, and Rex.
Rex.
Oh, good. I prefer that one, too. Thank you. Loretta.
Loretta, yes?
You know, I never would have matched your name with your number. You know, I tried everything from Mary to Gwendolyn Maid.
Gwendolyn May. But it has been fun writing, hasn't it?
Oh, this is much more gratifying. Much more.
You have a lovely car.
Oh, it's a magnificent piece of machinery. I'm a certified nut about cars. Is Santa Barbara your home?
No, I'm from Los Palos.
Oh, Los Palos. Oh, yes.
Oh, I haven't been there since last February. I decided to investigate what lay beyond the horizon of the blue Pacific.
Adventure, exciting.
If it only had been.
You mean it wasn't?
One should never travel alone. I'm even thinking of giving up a trip I was planning to France.
Quite right. We'll go to Italy instead. Would you like to walk a bit?
Oh, yes, lovely, thank you.
And then there's golf. My score, mind you, is a phenomenon I would rather not discuss.
Don't be modest now.
It's getting on towards lunch. How about it?
I'm afraid not. There won't be time.
Oh, I intended to spend the day together, get acquainted.
I'm sorry. It's a business matter.
It better be profoundly urgent.
It is. I have to go home to Los Palos.
Oh, I see. Look here. Why don't I drive you up?
What? Oh, I couldn't impose.
Oh, you better impose.
Oh.
Unless you're prepared to risk my temper. Oh, come on. We'll make an excursion of it. Won't take more than 2 hours to get there, and I used to know a charming little restaurant along the way, overlooking the sea.
I know I should say I cannot allow it, but it sounds like a delightful idea.
Oh, hooray. Oh, it'll mean so much. That's the trouble with a solo existence. No use to anyone.
Oh, now what do you know about a solo existence? You with your magnificent piece of machinery, your made-in-London clothes, to say nothing of your je ne sais quoi. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say something
No. The truth is, Loretta, there's been a little devil perched on my shoulder for the last half hour. And he's been laughing at me. A nasty, vicious, insidious laugh. But I've had it coming to me. It's my just desserts. It happened at a dinner party one evening. Somebody had read an advertisement for the hand-clasp house, and... Well, to make a shabby story quite brief, I was dared to join hand-clasp house. Oh, it's too shameful.
You did it on a dare? Then you didn't mean anything you said in your letters?
At first, no. But after a while, after reading your wonderful letters, then I really did mean what I said, yes. I really wanted to meet you then.
Well, it does explain why you're here, and I was wondering about a man
very
like...
good. Now, forget it. Now.
And after my husband died, I sold the house. It took a bit of doing. It was a white elephant. Built before the war, when large places weren't impossible to keep up. My attorneys finally sold it to some corporation or another. And they added a wing and converted it into a nursing home. Very posh, very expensive.
I may move in myself. Is that the the Dorsey I know?
Yes. My husband believes so strongly in, oh, I can't think of the word, but it means don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Diversification?
Yes, it is. That's it.
Well, you must tell me where.
Right through town. I won't be long. Oh, there's Louis Talbot. I must ask him about his new grandson. I just have to sign a few papers. I'll be right back.
Don't worry, my dear. Take your time.
Good morning.
Morning.
Would you be so kind as to tell me where the personnel office is, please?
You're in the wrong place, lady. Personnel's on the other side of the building. This entrance is for employees only.
Oh, well, I'm practically an employee.
Nobody is an employee until they've got an ID card.
Well, you see, the door on the other side there was locked.
Locked?
Yes.
That door's never locked in the daytime.
You wouldn't make me walk all the way around the building, would you? Can't you make an exception just this once?
Okay, lady. You can use that entrance.
Well, thank you. You know, that door might be locked, too.
That's always open.
Well, the other one was just stuck, possibly, so let's investigate this one together. I'm sorry to take you from your post.
It's all right, lady. Here we are.
Ah.
It's not stuck. Straight down the corridor.
Oh, thank you, officer. There's so few real gentlemen left these days. Good morning.
Hello.
What a pretty dress. So spring-like.
Why, thank you.
Do you mind if I sit down?
No, not at all. Would you like an application?
Well, aren't you kind to ask? No, thank you. Oh, dear. I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting all this time.
Oh, you were no time at all. Not at all. Everything go all right?
Well,
Oh, you look a little disturbed. Come on now, tell old Rex.
oh, it's nothing really. It's just that when Howard was alive, there didn't seem to be any business problems. Now all they talk to me about is deficits, volume control, tax incentives, things I don't know the first thing about. I do wish I had someone I could trust to advise me. Oh, well, I don't have to sign any more papers for a month. Come now, you're going to buy me that lovely lunch. Thank you.
Are you sure this is where you want me to leave you?
Yes, please. Let's keep the mystery of it. And you've been more than kind.
Oh, nonsense. I've loved every minute of it. And I hope there'll be more. I must have a chance to make an impression on you. A good one, I mean. Well, at least a better one.
Well, it's only fair that you be given that opportunity.
Well, same place?
Yes,
Tomorrow?
right here.
Thanks for today. 555.
Au revoir. A bientôt.
Shoot the other side of that wall, too. Those footprints there yesterday?
No, I'd have noticed. The last time it happened, I didn't attach any importance to it because I hadn't been visited by the police. But this morning, when I saw that and the footprints on the other side...
Last time it...
Yes.
Excuse me. See if you can find the gardener. I want to check something. Now, the last time, when was that?
Several months ago. 5, 6. I can't say definitely.
What about valuables? Anything taken?
I've searched the house carefully. Nothing is missing.
Sergeant, can I see you a minute?
Yeah, excuse me.
Fleischer says the footprint's 24 hours old, give or take a couple hours.
Stanton, this is very important. Are you sure that nothing was taken?
I'm positive.
Thank you very much. All right. You've been looking long enough. It's time you said something.
Forced open, Sergeant, within the last day or so.
Yeah. He scales that wall, and he breaks in here.
Right.
But he doesn't take anything.
Right.
He leaves. He locks that door behind him.
Right.
Oh, feel free to break into this conversation with any helpful hint you may have to contribute.
All right, Sergeant, maybe it doesn't tie in with the Lonely Hearts case.
Maybe. But I happen to have a very tidy mind, Frank. I still want to know why he broke in here and then didn't take anything.
Sergeant?
This the gardener? What's your name?
Jim Hody?
Detective Benson show you those footprints out there?
Yes. Practically in the same place as last time.
When was that?
About 4 months ago.
Couldn't you be any more exact than that?
No. The only reason I say 4 months is because I remember pruning the privet hedge. I always do that in April.
Early April, late?
Around the middle.
Around the middle. Thank you very much. Very helpful.
You want a light for that, sir?
Oh, no, thanks. I don't smoke. Sure. That's why he broke in here. He was just looking.
Looking for what?
Agnes Bannister registered here in April, didn't she?
Hey, that's right. Her check was dated April 7th.
1 week later, in mid-April, someone breaks in here, Mr. Lonely Hearts. He's not registered with Hand Clasp House or any other matrimonial bureau. He just breaks into one, goes through the file, and chooses somebody worth going after. That's what he was doing here in April when he went after Agnes Bannister. That's what he was doing here last night. He was choosing his next victim. Frank, you get those file cards back to the office. One of them has her name on it.
Digging your grave, that's what you're doing?
Really, Mr. Simpson?
Picnics, sandwiches, fried chicken. That stuff will kill you.
I haven't done this since I was a freshman. It was with a girl named Clara. That was it, Clara.
Your first love?
No. The reason I remember dear, sweet little Clara is that she used to spread her sandwiches with tile plaster. At least they tasted like it.
It's obvious you've been spoiled rotten your entire life. When I was a girl, the high-priced spread in my house was lard.
Now, would you believe me if I told you that I consider myself unfortunate that I was not deprived?
No, I wouldn't believe you.
Well, then I won't tell you. Oh, all right.
Do you enjoy boating, Rex?
I was born aboard the Lusitania. Before she was sunk, of course.
I have a boat in the marina at Los Palos. I should do something about it. It hasn't been used.
Your husband?
Oh, how he enjoyed it. Oh, that's why I've avoided even thinking about it. I must, though. The next time I go to Los Palos, I'll ask some of my friends if they want it.
You mean give it away?
Well, I'd rather it went to a friend for half of its value than to watch some stranger sail off with it.
Never could resist a bargain myself.
Told. Bosun, pipe the new owner aboard.
No, I'm serious. What about driving up tomorrow and having a look at it?
If you'd like. Oh, it's been such a lovely day.
Another lovely day.
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that. Sir, I am doing everything I can about this case. Well, you cannot go out and manufacture evidence, sir. Hi, Primer. Yes, sir, you will be the first to know, sir. Thank you for calling. Commissioner.
I sort of thought it might be.
All right, go ahead. Where were you?
Melinda Coogan, age 66, widow of a farm laborer. She lives off Social Security.
Lives off Social Security. It's impossible.
Jean Wilson, age 59, divorcee, likes pets, has a parrot and 3 dogs. She offers careful housekeeping, companionship, and good cooking in the home of a suitable gentleman.
I'd be better off with sliced bread and an electric blanket.
Rita Dorsey, age 51, widow. Husband was a manufacturer of chemicals, among other things. She seems to have traveled quite a bit since he died. Mexico, Hawaii, Tahiti.
Well, let me see that. Rita Dorsey, huh? Now, she's got what Mr. Lonely Hearts would go after. Yeah, come in.
Sergeant, the footprint from the hand clasp house?
Oh, yeah.
Made by a man 6'3" tall, 220 pounds, athletic type. Now, this is just a guess, but from the way that the shoe was worn, I would say that he's 45, 50 years old. I've sent a photo print to the FBI. They've checked the markings on the heel, and they say it's part of a shipment sold in Detroit.
Frank, teletype Detroit. See if they report any Lonely Hearts murders or disappearances in the last year or so.
Right.
Good work, Fleischer. Now, Rita Dorsey and Mr. Lonely Hearts. The rabbit and the fox. We now have some idea what he looks like, and we know where she is. All we gotta do is wait. The two to meet.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Coolidge. How's the arthritis?
Fine, Mrs. Dorsey. You were so right about the hot pack.
Oh, the old remedies are the best, aren't they?
Good morning.
Good morning, dear.
Guess what? Our grandson called us last night all the way from Philadelphia.
There, I told you. Now, you'll stop worrying about him. Good morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Dorsey.
Good morning, Gladys. Tell me now, how much of that movie did you and Tom see last night?
Mrs. Dorsey.
Huh?
You know, he actually talked to me about getting married.
No. There, didn't I tell you?
He told me I didn't believe him.
I couldn't be happier for you. There now, you take this.
Oh, Mrs. Dorsey, $20. I can't.
I insist. You put it in the bank, you'll need it. Marriage is an ocean of emotion, completely surrounded by expenses.
Oh, you've been awful nice, Mrs. Dorsey. I mean, like you dig everybody's feelings.
Nonsense. It's just that I truly love people. Now, hot breakfast, let me see. I'll have some orange juice, a toasted English muffin, and a cup... I mean a cup of coffee. Good morning, Mrs. Byrne.
Surgeon, I've been trying to reach you on the car radio.
What's the matter?
Our first Lonely Hearts corpse just turned up. What? You know that third woman, Marcia Hellstrom?
Yeah.
The body washed ashore in Santa Monica.
The medical examiner see it?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
Jumped or pushed from a high place.
She couldn't have been dead before the body hit the water.
He said when she hit rocks.
Means a high cliff, rocky shore.
Pushed or jumped.
Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what happened to all the others.
Or that it won't happen to Rita Dorsey.
What kind of a man would do a thing like that?
Me? No, I've never been to a doctor in my life.
You are fortunate, Mr. Simpson. You know what they say? A cool head and warm feet keep the doctor poor. What business are you in, Mr. Simpson?
Soybeans.
Soybeans.
Soybeans. I trade in soybean futures. Best thing ever happened to the human race. Soybeans help keep cheeks pink and perky.
The guy out there talking to Mrs. Dorsey, could I see his registration card, please?
Yes, that's Mr. Simpson.
Police department.
So, there you have it. In the best of health, cheerful disposition, and I've more than enough money laid by. And I don't think I'm too old to be considered eligible.
Oh, my dear Mr. Simpson, you're much too eligible to be considered old. Tell me, Mr. Simpson, do you enjoy boating?
Hello, Hallie. Shane. Listen, I want to run down on a Jack W. Simpson, 1560 Ludlow Drive, Rock Island, Michigan. Right, I'll check in. Ludlow Drive.
I'd rather my boat went to a friend than to watch some stranger sail off with it.
Well, now, I hope I'm a friend. Why don't we bowl a few games and talk it over?
Perhaps tomorrow, if someone else hasn't bought it.
I'll check with you later.
You Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
We got a message for you from Mr. Willoughby. He says he can't make it today.
Oh, did he say when he could?
Just that he can't be here today, and that's it.
Oh, please, I'm a friend of Mr. Willoughby's. If something's wrong, I'd like to help him.
Look, lady, he was just a fare. I picked him up and drove him over to the courthouse.
Rex!
What are you doing here?
Rex, what's wrong? I had to come and try to help you.
I know. It's very, very kind of you, and I appreciate it. But this is something very personal. You shouldn't have come. Now that you're here, I'm forced to say that I can't see you anymore.
Well, why not?
Correct. Excuse me.
No, I will not excuse you until you explain.
I don't want to explain.
Please, will you stop interrupting me? I know you're in some sort of trouble, and I think it's wicked of you to deny a friend who wants to help. If that's the way you feel about it, okay. And now, if you will excuse me. It's me again, Willie. Isn't there something I can do?
I'm afraid not. Thanks. Now, please go.
I'm staying right with you until you tell me what's wrong. Is it something I've done?
Of course not.
Then
no,
what
no.
is it? I insist you tell me. Larry held $10,000 bail pending trial for embezzlement. Have not been able to reach you by phone. Please call at once. Helen. Who's Helen?
My daughter-in-law.
Larry? Larry is your son? You never told me you had a son.
Reason enough. I hoped never to see him again. He destroyed his mother with worry, and me almost.
Did you call your daughter-in-law?
It's quite serious. I rushed down here to the courthouse for a private word with Judge Hamilton. He's an old friend, and he'll try his best. Meanwhile, I must do all I can. Helen, the children, I mustn't desert them.
I'd be surprised if you did.
I sold the lovely car this morning.
Oh.
And so it goes on and on. Last year, because of him, I had to sell an acre of my property. The year before that, a damage suit took a coin collection. Now I'll probably have to sell some of my mother's jewels.
Oh, Rex, I am so sorry. But I don't see what this has to do with our relationship.
I couldn't go on subjecting you to surprises like this. Loretta, the things I said a moment ago, I don't have the words to say how sorry I am, to express my regrets, as they say. Goodbye, Loretta.
Oh, now we're not going to start with the goodbyes again. I'm determined to help you, regardless of how much your pride is ruffled. Now, you said something about jewelry.
Oh, some pearls belonging to the family. I sold the car for $5,000. I'm sure I can sell the pearls for about the same amount.
Now, let me think. I really don't have very much cash available because, you see, my accountants pay all my bills and send me an allowance. Oh, wait a minute. I know what we can do. We can go to my attorneys, and they'll be happy to lend you the money.
Happy?
Well, of course. It's a perfectly good, clean-cut, business-like deal, and you have the collateral.
Well, it sounds wonderful, but and certainly much less embarrassing for me.
Oh, no, wait. I just remembered. I have some money in a safe deposit box in Los Palos.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's too late now, but we can drive up tomorrow and get the money.
Larita, are you sure?
Please, Rex, please let me do this for you.
Larita, I'm really overwhelmed. I accept. Grateful. But I insist that everything be done legally and in a business-like manner. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Dorsey. Shane Santa Barbara.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry for what I did this morning. Honestly, I am.
You knew I was following you?
You people aren't as unobtrusive as you'd like to be sometimes. Oh, that wasn't a nice thing to say. Please forgive me.
A few questions I'd like to
Wouldn't
ask
you
you
like
if you
to
don't
come
mind.
to my room and
No,
have
thanks.
some tea? Of course you would. I make it a point to have tea every day at this time. I find that pouring and stirring and sipping compels relaxation. Are you married, Sergeant?
No.
Oh, would you like cream or sugar?
I'll pass. Thanks. Would you mind explaining yourself?
Why did I elude you?
Yes.
It's quite simple. I'm accustomed to being followed.
You what?
Mind you, I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself, but you'll never persuade the police commissioner of Santa Barbara that a woman can be rich and safe at the same time.
What's the police commissioner got to do with this?
Oh, I'm sure it's he who gave the orders that I be kept under surveillance. He or the mayor or somebody in City Hall. The executors of my late husband's estate spread the alarm wherever I go. I think they picture me as carrying around the entire capital of Dorsey Manufacturing Company in my handbag.
Yeah, well, you're registered with a matrimonial bureau known as Hand Clasp House, are you not?
Sergeant, was it necessary for you to pry into my personal life?
Yes.
Oh, Sergeant, really?
Mrs. Dorsey, in the past year, 5 women have disappeared, all Lonely Hearts cases. And one of them has just been found, floating in the Pacific. We have reason to believe that one man is responsible for all of them, that he may try to approach you. Maybe he already has. Has he?
Well, yes, I have met a gentleman.
When?
Weeks ago. We corresponded through Hand Clasp House, and then we met.
Oh, well, then he's probably not our man. The guy we're looking for didn't know about you until night before last, when he broke into Hand Clasp House and went through the files. But, we better check your man out just the same, huh?
You're asking me to reveal who he is?
Darn right I am. Any objections?
You want to go to him and say that I've involved him in a police matter? Shatter what's become a good and honorable friendship?
Mrs. Dorsey.
Try to understand the humiliation for him, for me. We're 2 lonely people reaching out. Nobody likes to admit that. It's a matter of pride. I know why you want me to tell you who he is. It's obvious you know nothing about loneliness. Quiet desperation. The unrelenting fear that you'll never be rid of it. Like a desert wind. Soft, constant. Insisting that you may not ignore it. If you're fortunate to find shelter from that, my answer is no. No, Sergeant. My answer is no.
All right. And, in the meantime, does this sound anything like the man you're seeing? 6 foot 3 inches, 220 pounds, husky build, probably athletic, 45 to 50 years old, could be from Detroit.
Not in the least. My friend is tall, wiry, but...
Yes.
Well, there is a very nice gentleman here in the hotel that I've chatted with, Mr. Simpson. He looks 50, feels 40.
We're checking him out, too.
Oh.
In the meantime, if anyone answering this description comes within 100 miles of you, you'll get in touch with me right away.
You're darn right I will. Oh, now do please have a cup of tea. I insist.
Oh, why not?
Well, I think things have turned out pretty well. Rewards are not always those we anticipate, but one way or another, we are rewarded. Oh, what is it, Sergeant?
Oh, nothing. It's nothing.
No, that's not fair. You were thinking something.
Well, I play poker every Thursday night in the back of this beer joint with a bunch of crusty old Irishmen.
Oh?
Thank you. You know, a lot of wisdom kicked around, that sort of thing. One of them is always saying, the next best thing to a really good woman is a really good-natured one.
Oh, aren't you kind to say that? It's just that I like to look on the brighter side of things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in the meantime, if I can be of assistance to you in any way... I mean, the department, you just let us know.
I do appreciate that. More tea?
No, thanks. I'll nurse this one.
Oh, there is something you could do, Sergeant, since you know the city so well.
What's it?
Could you recommend a really reputable jeweler?
Ah, lovely string. An heirloom. Exquisite depth of color and beautifully matched.
Would you be kind enough to give me an estimate as to their worth?
Conservative estimate, because today's market fluctuates so, is $10,000.
Wholesale or retail? Wasn't at all necessary.
No. Remember, one of my conditions was an appraisal by a jeweler of your choice. Wouldn't want one of your financial advisors to think you behaved foolishly.
Nonsense. I've made a much better bargain than they ever could have.
Now, you better keep these. They'll be yours soon. Thank you, Loretta, so very much.
Oh, you're welcome, I'm sure. Please don't mention it again. Why, Rex, you didn't even count the money.
What a dreary notion. You can count as well as I can. My personal note, $5,000, 1 year, 6%.
Honestly, Rex.
Now then, business done with, let's celebrate. How about going to my place for a bite of lunch? My tuna souffle is an experience.
Tuna souffle? Do you know that secret?
You know what the experts say about whites of eggs at room temperature?
Tuna souffle and a cooking secret I can't resist. What do you think, Rex? Should we stop by the hotel and leave the pearls in the safe?
Very good idea, by all means.
Here's a written report of what we've got so far. I'll tell you, we're probably chasing some guy who's moved on to a new territory.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm not giving up on him. I've developed a personal loathing for that guy. I'm going to get him and get him good.
No, I kind of feel sorry for those women myself.
Well, sure you do, Frank. Want to know why? When you get on in years, if you're alone and unwanted, you can put up with being mugged or robbed, even murdered. It's the insult, Frank. How much that must hurt.
No, thank you, please. I won't be a minute. Hello, Edward. Baby better today?
Oh, looks like my wife and I won't get any sleep until he cuts his teeth.
Give him a lump of sugar to suck on. It's soothing.
All right, I will. I'm going to miss you, Mrs. Dorsey.
Aren't you kind to say that? Goodbye, Edward.
Goodbye. Jimmy's putting your luggage in the car now.
Thank you. Oh, naughty, naughty Mr. Simpson.
Let's have dinner and talk about your boat.
That would be lovely.
Well, meet me here in the lobby at 5 o'clock sharp. Late dinners will kill you, sure as shooting.
So will late lunches.
I've been had.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Wow, thank you very much. Something the matter, Mrs. Dorsey?
I seem to have lost one of my gloves. I don't suppose it's possible you have that much cash on you, but I would have...
Of course it's possible, madam. Here we are. $6.
Oh, how droll you are.
Retail.
This morning you told me these pearls were worth $10,000.
This is not the necklace you brought me this morning. This one is a fake. It is worth $6.
I'll take it.
This is a surprise.
I came for the tuna souffle. Oh, Rex, I am impressed. You have exquisite taste. Oh, and flowers. Oh, were they in anticipation of my coming?
Everything is in anticipation of you lately.
Perfect, perfect. You must consider yourself quite creative.
I did, until today. I've been cut down a bit. Compared to you, my love, I'm average and clumsy. Take that house of yours, the one that was turned into a nursing home. That was a creative masterpiece.
It did take a certain flair.
Oh, sorry, a drink.
No, thank you, but you go right ahead.
Can't. Doctor's orders.
Oh, pity.
I think I'll make an exception just this once. The shock, you understand, of finding you at my door.
You go on. I won't tell your doctor.
Larita, I have a question. A blunt one, if you don't mind. What is it you want? What the devil are you doing here?
Do you know what that silly man in the jewelry shop said to me? He said that the necklace I brought him a little while ago was not the same necklace I showed him this morning.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
And so now you've come here to make a scene, huh?
No. No, I've come for the real necklace. Get it for me, please.
I love women with spirit.
I'll just bet you do. Rex, my dear boy, I have been taken advantage of.
It is my belief, my profound professional conviction, that it's impossible to take advantage of you. As I see it, we're all square, even Stevens.
No, I can't agree. I had to work harder than you. It's been a rough season, stock market, you know. Newport didn't yield what it usually does, and Palm Springs devastated my capital with little or no return.
Why didn't you sell something you didn't own? A boat, perhaps?
You thought I was an innocent woman. An easy mark. You cheated me, and all the while I knew you were a swindler.
Now that is rude and unworthy of you, particularly as all the time I thought I was being so subtle. Comparatively, of course.
By dreading being seen with me? By putting on the dark glasses every time anyone came near? By the muddied license plates?
Oh, you noticed the plates, too?
But I must admit I was impressed the way you switched the necklace. Brilliant.
Thank you. I count pride among my many imperfections.
And what drama you must have played with the taxi driver. Very skillful.
Thank you. I'm not above flattery, either. Please go on.
I'm finished. This is the moment of reckoning. I'm sorry if I appear greedy, Rex, but I've invested much too much time in you to wind up skunked, as they say.
Yes. You're having to cut up all that paper money. That took time. It must have been such a bore.
And I would like the $200 back, too, if you please.
You're utterly shameless.
No, utterly without funds. Oh, don't be bitter, Rex. I didn't tell the police you were a swindler.
Police? That was kind. What did you do, vouch for my integrity?
I told them you were a sweet, harmless philanderer, rather than the rakish predator that you are.
You know, there's a strong smell of blackmail about this. You'll turn me in if I don't return my poor old mother's pearl, huh?
And the $200?
You are gifted. But it's all so wonderfully melodramatic. Now tell me, if you're not bluffing, how do you avoid implicating yourself?
I can't. But you have more to lose than I do. This place, for instance. And being a woman, I'm bound to come out better than you. Face it, Rex, you're stuck. So now why don't you give me the pearls and the money and I'll be off?
Tell me one good reason why I should let you intimidate me. My integrity has been vouched for. I'm not suspected of anything.
Really, Rex, I must be going. You see, I invited Sergeant Shane of the Santa Barbara Police to the hotel to tea. And if I'm not there to pour, I left word that he was to join us here.
What a wretched thing to do.
And also that nice room clerk there, Edward. I gave him all the letters written to me by Lonely Hearts 246. And I wrote your address on the back.
But you didn't write those letters.
Oh, I dropped a stitch.
Those letters were written for him.
You two make a lovely pair.
Thank you. In fact, Rex Willoughby doesn't exist. Lonely Heart 246 doesn't exist. The man who victimized you is a burglar who got your number from my private files.
And I'd never be suspected of being that burglar. You know, I wore bigger shoes, carried extra weights. So that leaves only you. And if you're not here when the police arrive, who's to know that you ever were? Or that I had anything to do with anything. Now, wasn't that clever?
I wish you wouldn't be so cocksure of yourself. I never wanted you to involve yourself with that Bannister woman anyhow. I warned you her check could be traced back to me.
You're the man they're looking for. You're the one who killed those 5 women.
I? A harmless philanderer? Vouched for by you? Whose real name is Ashford? Shows you can never tell a book by its cover. Besides, I hate the sight of blood. And I've never harmed a woman myself.
Just a trail of broken hearts, eh?
Come now. Take a bit of my frustrated heart, a bit of my truly lonely heart with you, and let's move on to our next adventure, hmm?
Maybe you're right. We'll never beat the cost of living by threatening each other.
I'll see you out.
Oh, thank you. You can keep my registration fee. Well, I must admit you and Mrs. Stanton make a very handsome couple.
Oh, thank you. Very nice of you.
Wait! You forgot this.
Oh, how on earth could I have misplaced that?
Probably just slipped out of your bag.
Thank you. Really, there's no need for you to take me to the car.
I think he prefers that you didn't drive off.
My glove!
He's already been taught to hate you.
Now I know why you invited me here today.
He insists that we move on. Oh, I wish this had turned out differently. Not just professionally, you know what I mean. You and I could have... Ah, well. Oh, but let me warn you. As one who is deeply, deeply devoted, please follow my instructions. Stay on the path. Move to the right, left, scream, leave the path, and this dreadful but well-trained beast will tear you to pieces. Please don't let that happen, huh?
But where does the path end?
You'll see.
What?
Eventually. Au revoir. Adieu, ma chérie.
Hello, doggy. We can be friends, can't we? Go home, doggy. Home? Oh. Please. Oh. Go home, doggy, please. Please, I'll see you later. Wait, I can't wear my shoes. All right, all right, all right. Wait a minute, please stay. Wait. Oh, no.
Shoot the dog! I can't. I'm afraid I'll hit her. She's dead either way.
Frank, see if she's all right, will you? Thanks. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Dorsey?
I'm fine. And I think I know who your killer is. Did you find them?
Not yet, but we've got the whole area cordoned off. They can't slip through.
Oh, how does one go about thanking someone for saving your life?
I didn't come here to save your life. I came to make a pinch.
You can't mean me. Whatever for?
Well, let's say it's the way of a confused cop. I mean, you check out of your hotel, you check back into your hotel, you call and invite me to tea, then you say, I'm not invited to tea, to come here instead, but only if you're late. I got a little bit confused. And the confused cop has a tendency to ask questions. Like, say, the Los Palos police.
Oh, Sergeant, really, I don't
Mrs.
think
Dorsey,
you
I must warn you that anything you say can be used against you.
Nonsense. Oh, I don't know why you trouble the Los Palos police. Oh, but of course, how could you know?
No?
Well, doesn't it all add up when you consider the facts?
My arithmetic is lousy. You add.
Who searched out and found your Lonely Heart's murderer?
You?
Who arranged for you to appear at the propitious moment so that you could make an arrest?
You.
And who collected all the evidence so that you could get a conviction on them both?
You. Now, how could I possibly have been so far off base?
Well, there you have it. Why do you look at me like that?
Oh, that's sheer admiration. You look absolutely marvelous.
Oh,
considering you're 87 years old.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, not if you're Loretta Dorsey, it isn't. She's 87 years old.
Oh, that Loretta Dorsey.
Loretta Dorsey.
Oh, well, the explanation of that is very simple.
Oh, really? I'd love to hear it.
I used her as my cover.
Cover for what?
Oh, Sergeant, surely you figured it all out by now.
No.
I'm a government agent. And I'm here doing exactly what I was told to do.
Yeah, sure.
Sergeant, we got him outside.
Oh, thank you, Frank.
Let's both go out and say goodbye.
Frank, get Ed to follow him in and book him as soon as they get there.
I thought you hated the sight of blood and never harmed a woman.
You know what they say in the service? A good officer never does anything. He causes things to be done.
And you certainly did.
All right, that's it. Take him in, Richard.
Au revoir. Adieu, mon cher. Oh, dear, I must be off. Can I get you a lift? Oh, no, I forgot you have your own car. Well, let's meet at the hotel, shall we?
Oh, no. Let me give you a lift instead.
Oh, but I have my car
One
here.
of my men can drive that car back, and that way you get to answer certain very important questions which are still bothering me. And this time, the tea is on me.
Oh, aren't you kind?
Yes.
Susie Lovegrove and her husband were happily married, but soon after the birth of their son Troy, their lives were challenged by one of today's dreaded diseases. Susie had contracted AIDS and passed it on to her child. However, to help fight the battle of fear and ignorance, the Lovegroves welcomed the media into their home to document Susie's struggle. Saturday at 9, Fox 11 presents the very moving, factual account of Susie's story. Now, Danger Mouse swings into action, next on Fox 11.